In this episode, Ryan breaks down a serviced accommodation deal an investor has sent in. Ryan gives the investor some real advice as to whether it's a good deal or a bad deal, and he shares some insights the investor had not thought about to help the investor understand the risks about taking on a deal like this in this current climate. Remember, if you have a deal for Ryan to help you with, post it in the Facebook community group called the Property Crash Course and let Ryan show you the money. Show me the money on Wednesday. If you have a deal right now and you don't know the best way to structure it, if you post a deal in the community group on Facebook called Property Crash Course, Ryan will help you unlock hidden profits and save you from locking yourself into a loss on those bad deals that every property sourcer wants you to buy.
Just want to share with you guys very quickly a deal structure that I've spoken about before, but we're using it more and more and more right now, especially now in July during the coronavirus, in the aftermath of the pandemic, if we even are in the aftermath. Maybe there's a second spike, maybe it's coming back again, they're locking down cities, Leicester, they're locking down other countries in India and everything else, and maybe we're not even in the aftermath. Maybe it's still here and it's not going away. Anyway, what's working right now in property investment, deal structures is this. Let me share this strategy with you guys right now. People that are looking to sell their properties, there's a lot of them. Have a look on the internet, have a look at the stats. You will find there's lots and lots and lots of people that need to sell their properties. What normally happens when somebody sells their property? It's very likely that the property is empty. Now, if it's a rental property, an investment property, it's even more likely that the property is empty because someone who's buying it would typically want to buy it with vacant possession unless it's a big investment, an asset. It's like a business in the property. It's a HMO. It's a commercial property. It comes as an ongoing concern and you're buying into the rights to basically print money. You buy it for this much, it generates that much on rent, that's your net profit, this is your yields, that's why it has this price tag, okay? Anyway, whenever somebody is selling a property, an asset, an investment property, anything like that, if you find the ones that are empty, what does it mean? There's a massive opportunity because you know how long it takes to sell the average property in a good climate. Now, if you look at all the stats online, that will be somewhere around about 5 to 9 months. That's because it varies and fluctuates. I'm probably being very conservative, but the reality is it's a long fucking time because it has to be photographed. It has to be listed. Then the agent, obviously, it gets inquiries and somebody books to view the property. Somebody views the property. Most of them are tire kickers, or they don't have the money, or they have something to sell, or they're window shoppers, or they decide to now put their property on the market to sell, etc., etc. That all takes time. Then there's a mortgage process, a mortgage application, which only comes after somebody has put an offer in and you, the owner, or the vendor, the seller, has accepted the offer. Does this make sense? Are you still with me? Maybe I'm going a little bit fast because I'm excited about this. I'm trying to get these episodes out to you guys as quick as possible because my editor, my podcast manager is waiting for these episodes today that are going out today. So this isn't rushing. Maybe I'm talking a little bit faster to give you guys as much value as possible. This is just my passion. It's in my heart. It's in my mind. I'm conscious. We're doing these deals right now. So I just want to share this information with you guys. So going back to that, then they accept the offer, then all the surveys start, then you apply for the mortgage, and then they instruct solicitors, and then there's searches, and everything else. That all takes fucking time. Then there might be a problem with their mortgage. Then they might be in a chain. Then they may have to find a buyer for their house first before they can buy this house. And that goes on and on and on. And then there's a possibility that the bank will reduce the loan offer, or the survey will come back wrong or a little bit low, or there's a bit of damp that has to be treated as one of the conditions, or there's some work that needs to be done, or the lender restricts the lending loan to values in any particular way, or the worst happens. The fucking chain breaks down, or they change their mind, or they get gazumped, or somebody pulls out somewhere in the chain, and the seller is back to fucking square one. Weeks, months have gone by. Then what happens? It gets listed again, goes through the process again, agent has to sell it again. You understand what's going on here. That's why it can take a very fucking long time to sell something. Do you agree? Okay, now we've agreed on that. Who wants their property to sit empty while they're waiting for someone to buy it? I don't think any of you guys on here, which are all smart people because you're listening to this business and entrepreneurship podcast right now, where I'm sharing tips, tactics, strategies, profit increasing things, revenue management things, how to find deals, structure deals, close deals, negotiate deals, so make some fucking money. That's all I'm sharing with you guys every single fucking day is tips and strategies and things that we're doing right now to make money. And it's free. Well, the money's not free, but it's free, these tips for you guys to learn how to make money. I'm just documenting exactly what we're doing. These things are just happening every day in my business, okay? And I'm just rambling, sharing them here with you guys so you can get some value, so you can achieve everything you want to achieve. You can provide for your family, you can do anything you want to do when you have, these secrets, these skills, these tactics to unlock whatever it is that you're looking to achieve, okay? Now, only an idiot would leave their property empty, okay? Now, most people don't have the answer or the idea or the know-how to have their property rented while it's up for sale, at the same time not preventing or hindering the sale at any time, because the sale is the most important thing they want to achieve, and they choose to not have a tenant because they don't want the tenant to not leave, which means the person buying the property won't be able to buy the property because it won't have vacant possession, and then it'll be worth less money, and then there's all the tenant headaches and all those other things. So, most people don't know this. Most agents don't know this. It's just not real common knowledge unless you can think outside the box and be creative. But all of us here are investors. We're entrepreneurs. We provide solutions. We unlock and unravel complex problems. This is a simple thing. I don't want to overcomplicate this. It's a very, very simple thing. And this is exactly what we do and what you should be doing right now. Find the properties on the market for sale. Anything that you think will work to rent for more money than what you will pay. Maybe you rent it as rooms. Maybe you rent it as a HMO. Maybe, obviously licensing, of course. Maybe you rent it as a short-term holiday rental. Maybe you whack it on Airbnb. Maybe you put it on Booking.com. Maybe you rent it to a company. Maybe you rent it to some key workers. Maybe you rent it to some contractors, some builders. Fucking rent it to anybody you want who wants to rent a property on a short-term basis. So as long as you can pay a lower rent and you can collect a higher rent, and they're not on an AST, an assured short hold tenancy agreement, which means they're not fucking protected from eviction and the bollocks and everything else, and what Boris has done to add 3 months to the tenancy so nobody can give notice or nobody can be evicted during COVID and all of that crap. You need to just sidestep that and avoid that by only working on a holiday rental agreement or a license, or how a hotel works is you book 1 night to 28 nights, you check in on this date, you check out on that date, you pay this much money, you don't get an assured short hold tenancy agreement, you're there because you paid for that many nights, and you're not protected from eviction. Let me ask you a question. Are you and your family prepared for when the economy crashes and your bank balance goes to zero? In the aftermath of the 2008 property crash, I held a keynote talk in Piccadilly around property investment tactics that work when the economy crashes. And these tactics saved me in the 2008 crash. Let me share them with you real quickly. The first one is buying properties for £1 without getting a mortgage, without putting a deposit down, and without any credit whatsoever. The next strategy is finding properties with £25,000 to £50,000 of instant equity. The next strategy is buying a property today and paying for the property later when it's worth more, a lot more in the future. The next strategy is renting HMOs and student properties and any properties up to 75% below the market rent. This gives you massive cash flow right now. And then the next strategy is raising from £4,000 to £14,000 from properties that you just rent. This can be used as get started cash for whatever you want in your business. Now, I created a free training to walk you through the only strategies that will save your bank balance from going to zero. I'm serious. if you just go to www.propertycrashcourse.com and tell me where to send this free training. So let's just think about that, and let me give you an example of a property deal that we've just done, which enables us to do exactly that, right? Property worth £500,000 on the market for sale. There was a tenant in there paying somewhere around £1,700-1,800 a month. The tenant had to leave because the landlord thought the tenant has to leave for them to sell the property because the tenant would hinder them from selling the property. It's like the chicken and egg. But it's like the chicken and egg. Nobody really knows, okay? But when you're God, not saying I'm God at all, but when you're God, you already know because you're that one step ahead and you created the chicken, you created the egg. So you actually fucking know the answer to that question. Which one came first, the chicken or the egg? Same for a landlord. Doesn't know the answer to being able to rent his property, still receive money, collect money, have complete security that the person can't prevent the sale in any way, and have someone come round to view the property and then buy the property, and then they exchange contracts, the tenant moves out like that in a week or 3 days or 14 days, whatever notice you give them in the contract, and then the person buys the property, which is the ultimate goal. One doesn't hinder the other. One doesn't need to happen without the other. They can work in synergy, in fucking tandem. Just when you know these basic things. So, let me give you an example. We look on the internet with Rightmove. Nowhere special, it's not a secret. Rightmove, OpenRent, Gumtree, any private selling website. Or even any rental website, okay? So you find something for sale. You can see from the pictures it's empty. You find the property that you know you can make money on. So you need to understand that first. If you don't know how to make money on property, go to propertycrashcourse.com. It's completely free. I give away free information how to make money from property. There's nothing to buy there. There's nothing for sale. It's completely free training. That will tell you and show you exactly how to make fucking money from property. When you've got that, go back to Rightmove. Have a look at stuff that's for sale. Make sure it fits the criteria in the cities where there is demand. Don't look for shitty things. Look for nice things, luxury things, the things that will sell and rent all year round. Just think, when you choose a hotel, what hotel would you like to stay in? When you're looking at an apartment or a house or a holiday home, have a look at what you think people will like to book and pay for. I always go for fucking sea views. I always go for fucking beachfront. I always go for the top one, the penthouse, the top floor, the balconies, the duplexes, the triplexes, which are very rare. All of those things, because they fucking sell. And that's what people want to pay for. Convenience, a balcony, panoramic views, sea views, sunset views. Fucking on the beachfront, on the seafront. Don't waste your time and energy, which takes the same time and energy, to do a shitty basement studio with no fucking windows, when you can have the fucking penthouse in the building, where there's less people interested, because it's fucking £3,500 a month, it's only 2 bedrooms, but there's less people that have the money to pay for it. So studio at the bottom, £600 a month with no windows. Every fucking student wants it. It's the cheapest property in the city. Which one do you think is harder to do, the deal with? The cheapest property in the city that every fucker wants, or the most expensive property in the city that not many people want because it's so fucking expensive, and a local probably couldn't even rent it or afford to rent it. £3,500-4,000 a month. I looked at something for £4,800 a month and got it agreed at £2,250. The fucking penthouse in the fucking marina. Excuse me for swearing. I'm getting passionate because this is real. This is what we do every single day. This is what I look for. This is just me freestyling and talking to you about what we do in my company every day. So, it takes the same amount of time and energy. So just go big and look for the most desirable property. So then you found it on the internet. Then you can see that it's empty. If you can't see it's empty, phone them, ask them. Book a viewing and say to them before you go there, is it furnished, is it unfurnished? And does the owner live there, do they not live there? When they say they don't live there and it's empty, bam! It's exactly what you want. When you know it's empty, it's up for sale, you've got a window of probably 3 months to 9 months, 3 months to 9 months, where you know that will just sit fucking empty. So listen to this. This is what we do. We agree a deal with the owner and say to them, we're going to rent the property from you all the way up until you get to exchange of contracts, while it's for sale. What we're going to give you in exchange is protection from eviction. We're not going to be issuing an AST, a different type of agreement that is not protected from the Housing Act. So the second you sell it, the second you get to exchange, you give us a notice, it's 7 days, and then you can complete. We are out, and you get the property back in fantastic condition. What we're also going to do is we're going to furnish the property, dress the property, style the property. This is what we do. So then it creates a lifestyle, luxury furniture. So when someone comes around to view it, what does it do? Helps convert them to fucking buy it. Because they buy into a lifestyle, they buy into the furniture, they buy into the four-poster bed, they buy into the change lounge, they buy into the fucking 42-inch TV on the wall, 43-inch, they buy into the fucking decor, they buy into just a lifestyle. You know how it is, it looks pretty. If you haven't got the money, negotiate with the owner for them to furnish the property. If you haven't got the money. But if you have got the money, you furnish a property. Or even rent a fucking furniture pack like developers do. Even rent it. But right now there's shit loads of furniture everywhere. Because nobody wants to be doing Airbnb. Nobody wants to be doing Booking.com. All the furniture is up for sale on the internet. It's fucking everywhere. And they're more or less giving it away. If you know where to look for these things. So now we've established that you can protect them from eviction, you can pay them rent while the property is empty, they can give you a particular notice, which means that you won't prevent them from selling the property when they find a buyer. It's going to be guest ready all the time. You will obviously structure the viewings at a certain time between 11 and 2 p.m, between check-in and check-out, check-out and check-in, so there'll be nobody in the property. You have to communicate with the owner, you have to communicate with the agent to get this right, but just listen to this. We're getting rents that should normally rent for £2,000 a month for £1,000 a month. And if we just put it back on the market to a local person, we can get more than the local rent at £2,000 because we're offering short-term rentals. I don't mean every night. You can do every night if you want to, one-nighters. I mean 1 week, 1 month, 8 weeks, 3 months, 12 weeks, those type of deals. Where it's a short-term basis. They don't have an AST, they have a holiday rental agreement or a license or something else along those lines, not an AST. And because it's a shorter period, they pay more money. Let's just say you get 20% more than the local market rent. The local market rent should be £2,000 on this particular property, a 2-bedroom flat, 2-bathroom we just took. £2,000, give or take £100 either side, okay? Now, on the local market rent, it should be £2,000. We can easily get 2,400 because we're offering it on a short-term basis, but we're paying 1,000. So even if we just rented it to somebody else and chucked some furniture in there, or leased some furniture, or rented a furniture pack, or it had furniture, or we negotiated with the fucking landlord to put some furniture in there, just the big bulk items, then we're making £1,400 a month. Only while the property is up for sale. Who would say no to doing this for 3 months, for 4 months, for 5 months, for 6 months, for 7 months, for 8 months, for 9 months? And let's just say the property doesn't sell, or the market crashes, or the landlord or the buyer changes their mind. Then you've had it for the full fucking term. Let's just say you make £1,000 a month. That could be up to £9,000. Who wants to say no to £9,000 from a deal that you would never normally do if you didn't just listen to this podcast today, this episode, to learn exactly how we're doing these micro-lets, these short-term lets. We're bridging the gap while people are selling their properties.
Make sure you've subscribed, because tomorrow you'll get problems, challenges and opportunities on Thursday. Every Thursday, Ryan takes you deep inside his business, sharing his problems, walks you through his challenges, talks about the opportunities that you only find once you've broken through the wall. That's the secret that every entrepreneur discovers, because the biggest problem in your business today usually becomes your greatest opportunity and asset tomorrow.
We're not a one-trick pony where we look at a property and say, we're going to do this, offer you 25% below the market value. If you say no, that's it, and we'll wait for the next one. Absolutely no way. We used to do that back in about 2004. And then we realised, hold on a minute, how about we just say we'll offer them 10% below the market value, where they can't really say no, Don Corleone, make them an offer they can't refuse, and then we don't actually buy it ourselves. We sit in the middle, we do an assisted sale, we go and find another buyer, and then we take 10% of that. Maybe we give 2.5% to the end buyer, we made 7.5% from doing what? Just being creative with structuring the deal. Not buying any property, not owning any property, not having to put a mortgage deposit down and just sitting in the middle. That's all we're doing right here, but we have the skills in the middle. So I'm sharing it with you guys on here right now. Go onto the internet, go onto Rightmove, talk to agents, say to them, anything that you've got that's up for sale, that's empty, that fits this criteria, which will probably be 2 and 3 bed houses or apartments in good key locations in the cities near you, or choose another fucking city that you like. It could be in any city where there's demand. You pay one rent, we're getting them about 50% below the market rent. Because just imagine, it's 50% more rent than they would get just leaving it empty, and you pay all the bills. So council tax, rates, TV license, water, sewage, utilities, everything else that still have to be paid while it's empty. On an average property, that's about £300 a month, okay? Maybe a bit more for something bigger, maybe a bit less for something smaller. Just say £300 a month, okay? That's £300 a month you're paying, the owner is not paying. Then you're paying £1,000 a month rent on something that used to rent for £2,000. So technically, the owner is getting £1,300 of rent, pounds a month rent for something that used to bring in £2,000 a month. And then they had bills, expensive fees, etc. Who would say no to £1,300 a month for a property that's worth £2,000 a month, but it has to sit empty for 3, 6 or 9 months while it's being fucking sold? There's not many that would say no to that, as long as you explain it in the way that they will be protected from eviction, that it will be guest ready, that you'll take care of everything. You'll create a lifestyle. The furniture will look amazing. They can have access whenever they need to within, obviously, 24 hours notice. So you can notify your tenants, your housekeepers, your cleaners, your company, whoever's in the property, so then it's ready for them to see it. How many sellers do you think would say no to this? I want all of you guys to go out and do this, to make some phone calls, call some agents, go on the internet, have a look at some properties and make some offers. Put some of these offers forward, because there's other deals I can talk about right now that we just took on. There's another particular deal. It used to rent for £1,100 a month, okay? If I said to you I got it at 50% below the rent, $11,950 it used to rent for, it's up for sale, the same thing again. So what did they do? Got rid of the last tenant. Now it's sitting empty, waiting to be sold. What did I do? The mortgage is £700 a month, and they're losing that every single month. I agreed £600 a month, so they're just losing £100 on their mortgage. However, I'm paying the bills while it's up for sale, which is technically passed on to the tenant anyway. So even though I'm paying the bills, somebody else is paying me for the bills, so I'm not paying anything at all. So it's gone from looking like it's £600, so they're £100 a month short on their mortgage. However, they've saved £300 a month on the bills. So they're way better off with me taking $600 when it used to rent for $1,200 and I pick up the bills. They've got even more money now instead of it sitting empty. So what do you think they said? Yes, we agreed £600 a month. It normally rents for £1,200 a month. I've rented it on a short-term contract to the Home Office. The Home Office pay around about £1,300 a month for that property. £1,300 minus £600, and they pick up all the bills and they furnish it. How much profit am I left with? Let's do it together. It's very simple. 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000, 1,000, 1,100, 1,200, 1,300. How much is that? £700 net profit every single month from this property that was sitting empty while it's being sold. No furniture because the Home Office furnish it. No management because the Home Office manage it. That's it. That's another £700 a month just added there, just like that. From what? Calling somebody who's got a property for sale. That's it. Now you guys need to go out and take some action. The end.
He's a #1 Amazon bestseller. He's an NLP manipulator. He's a property course seller. He's a Lamborghini driving multi-millionaire property guru. Forget that same old boring I am me narcissistic podcast format, because nobody gives a fuck. This podcast is all about you. So I'm taking these few seconds to thank you for subscribing, to thank you for leaving your 5-star reviews, and thank you for sharing this show with all of your friends. My team and I will keep bringing you these episodes and answering all of your burning questions in my Facebook community group called Property Crash Course. if you can just keep telling all of your friends about this show.